Hello, ladies, and welcome to your lesson for how to conquer your cravings. Because guess what? We all have cravings. You are not alone in this. So, we are going to get started. I do want you to know after you watch this video, download the little workbook or the cravings journal below and use that. We're going to talk about that in the lesson here so that you know what that is for, what all those questions mean. We're going to go through that, but make sure you get that downloaded, print it off, and use it. Use it. Okay, ladies, put this into action. All right, let's get started. So, from ruining your progress to making you feel like a failure, food cravings aren't your friend, no matter what they say. In this lesson, we'll break down the real reasons that you can't stop over snacking and explain how to combine smart behavioral strategies with healthy junk food alternatives so you can finally conquer your cravings. Have you ever stared at a pile of crumbs or an empty ice cream container with a belly full of shame and wondered, how did I let this happen? I can relate because just about everyone can relate. Besides driving you to eat, cravings can drive you nuts, making you feel like an out-of-control failure who can't keep from overindulging. But you aren't powerless against these urges, even if it seems that way. The secret to winning the cravings game? It's not about eliminating your cravings altogether. That's just wishful thinking. And it's not about building your willpower either. Relying solely on self-discipline all too often ends with a binge and then a whimper. No, the way you conquer your cravings is by outwitting them. How, you ask? By understanding why, where, and when they occur, and creating a strategic action plan ahead of time. Because ladies, here at MVP Moms, we plan ahead for success. Think of it as learning junk food jujitsu. And if you're ready, you can start today. Here are 5 simple strategies to help you get off the cravings train for good. Dig to the root of your cravings. No one hates on themselves when they crave a salad or a protein shake or a grilled chicken breast. But most cravings are closely tied to junk food and have little to do with true hunger. And each time you indulge these urges, you reinforce the behavior, creating a cravings cycle that can hijack your progress and your sanity. So, the craving cycle, it works like this. First comes the urge, the craving, followed by the behavior, finding a food that satisfies that craving. Then you get the reward, eating the food you wanted. That last part is accompanied by a release of dopamine, giving your brain a hint of pleasure. From there, it can snowball out of control. The more often you reward the brain, the more likely it is to stimulate the craving, and the stronger that craving may become. Find your trigger. Ever had your mouth watering at the mere sight of a McDonald's drive-thru? Or smell that movie popcorn and make a beeline for the concession stand, even though you swore you'd skip it this time? Cravings are often brought on by environmental cues such as sight, smell, taste, location, or company. Yes, the people that you surround yourself with. So, tracking when and where your cravings occur can help you figure out what triggers them. From there, you can adjust your environment and your habits to disrupt the cycle. Each time you experience a craving, I want you to jot down the answers to these questions. And these questions are in that cravings journal that you're going to download below. All right? So, first question, what are you craving? A specific food, a certain flavor or texture? Next, where are you? Note your location, but also any smells or visual cues, like a restaurant billboard or a commercial. What is it that's cueing you? Next one, what are you doing? Are you driving? Are you working? Are you watching TV? Next one, what are you feeling physically? Shaky, lightheaded, tense? What are you feeling emotionally? Happy, cranky, rushed, anxious, stressed? What are you thinking? For instance, I might as well just eat this. I've already fallen off track. And the last one, who are you with? Be specific on all of these answers, ladies. This will help you overcome and conquer your cravings. And this is not just a one-time exercise. Try it for a couple of weeks so that you can see what patterns emerge. And trust me, there are almost always patterns. Now, change your patterns. Let's say you tend to reach for ice cream an hour after dinner every night. According to your notes, you're not even really hungry. You're just craving something sweet or salty or crunchy, or maybe a combination of the three. Or perhaps you've noticed that every day after your 2 p.m. conference call, you saunter down to the office cafeteria or the snack room just to see if there's anything new in there. Usually there's not. And you end up with a 500-calorie treat that you didn't need or ever truly want. You've just identified a pattern. Now you can disrupt the cycle with these smart behavioral strategies. Strategy number 1, give your craving a timeout. Mamas, you all know what a timeout is, right? Yes, the strategy traditionally used with willful toddlers. Can also work with Rocky Road. Notice your snack urge and sit with it for 5 minutes without taking action. Now, this is not about exercising willpower. It's about pausing just long enough to let your conscious mind say, hey, I'm in charge here. This gives you the chance to evaluate all your options and make a rational decision rather than a reactionary one. Are you actually hungry? Or are you bored or stressed or procrastinating or tired? Does a steak or baked potato sound good? Or is it just those donuts in the break room? These are the kinds of questions that you can ask yourself. Granted, you may still decide to go ahead and indulge. After all, maybe you're truly hungry. Or perhaps you're just not having the best day. Trigger alert. And that's okay. Don't consider this a failure. In your efforts to break your cravings cycle, you won't be perfect. Ladies, we always talk about focus on progress, not perfection. Simply think of this as an opportunity to gather more data about your cravings so that you better understand them for next time. And give yourself a pat on the back for taking the 5 minutes timeout. But here's the really important part. You don't have to choose between giving in to your cravings and depriving yourself. There's a space between the two, and that's where you can really break the cravings cycle. Strategy number 2. Choose an activity that does not involve chewing. What happens if you step away from the freezer and go for a walk? Clean up your phone's camera roll. Or make a new Spotify playlist. Maybe do some squats or some burpees. By immersing your mind or your body in an activity long enough, you may run the urge all the way out of your system. That's because cravings are often psychological rather than physical. And with the exception of a very strong grief or trauma, intense feelings don't usually last longer than 15 or 20 minutes. If you're not really hungry, the craving will likely dissipate. You've probably even experienced a form of this diversion therapy before. Have you ever gotten so involved in a project that you actually forgot to eat lunch? Or the afternoon flies by and you didn't even think about having a snack? Same concept, only this time you'll do it on purpose. Once you sense a craving, choose an activity you can really dig into, such as working on a project that you're passionate about, crossing an item off your daily to-do list, responding to a few emails, calling a friend, playing an instrument, shooting hoops in the driveway or throwing ball with your kids, exercising, gardening, or cleaning. Remember, you're looking to activate and occupy your mind and or body. So while different activities may work better for different people, watching TV probably will not help. And in fact, TV is often a trigger. Strategy number 3, try an experiment. Hunger and cravings tend to come in waves, rising and falling throughout the day. It helps to understand how this feels. That's why I sometimes suggest our healthy clients, those without any pre-existing health conditions, try a fasting experiment. For 24 hours they don't eat. Now they are reminded to stay very well hydrated though. Disclaimer: if you have had any eating disorders, I do not recommend trying this. Now, although some are afraid that they'll be starving all day long, that's not usually what happens. Yes, they get hungry. Yes, they get cravings, but these feelings come and go. And for many folks, this can be both eye-opening and empowering. In a sense, fasting forces them to lean in to urges and accept it's okay to be hungry. Do they waste away? No. Do they collapse from exhaustion? No. Does the world end? No, of course not. Again, this is not about testing your willpower or denying yourself. It's about giving you a fresh perspective and reducing the anxiety, discomfort, and urgency you feel the moment hunger or cravings arise. Strategy number 4. Eat the right foods during the day. Ladies, we talk about fueling your body with the right kind of fuel. Though cravings can happen any time of day, nighttime cravings and overeating are very common. It is okay whether you eat a couple of times a day or several, or if you have most of your food in either early in the day or later. So long as it's working for you, it's all fair game. We are all different. We all have different eating times. However, often clients who overeat at night, they are often restricting their intake throughout the day, knowingly or unknowingly. For example, they might be skipping breakfast and having a salad with little or no protein for lunch. By dinner, they could be making some solid choices, rich in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, but their appetite is already in overdrive. So it's no wonder they're feeling snacky before bed. What you eat during the day matters. Not so much what you eat on any given day, but what you eat on most days as a whole. Fiber, especially from those low-calorie vegetables, the non-starchy vegetables, this helps fill you up, and you can eat so much more of it and still have low calories. And protein keeps you full longer between meals, along with some healthy fats as well. This makes eating a combination of these nutrients in sensible portions at regular intervals key for regulating appetite. Even small adjustments to eating habits, such as adding a daily breakfast or a mid-morning meal if you're doing intermittent fasting, with a healthy dose of protein and vegetables, along with reasonable amounts of smart, healthy carbs and healthy fats, can help curb after dinner eating. The message here is simple. If you have a voracious nighttime appetite, look at what you're eating the rest of the day. You may find if you do a better job of nourishing your body at other meals, you won't hear that little "feed me" voice when you're about to brush your teeth. Strategy number 5. Indulge your cravings under the following conditions. Really craving a chocolate bar? Okay, have one. But choose a pricey, high-quality, high-cacao chocolate. Eat it slowly and savor the experience. Though it seems counterintuitive, clients tell me that they eat far less of the chocolate or any craved food by doing it this way. And research shows the same. Or even better, try this unconventional strategy. Have any snack you want, but it cannot be kept in your pantry. It has to be purchased right before eating from a grocery store that's at least 15 minutes away. Half the time people decide it's not worth the effort. What about the clients who do set out for the grocery store? Well, by the time these folks arrive, they sometimes don't even want the snack because the craving's gone. Now, another similar method to try goes like this. You can eat it, but you have to make it from scratch. That's right. Potato chips need to be sliced from an actual potato and cooked in an air fryer, if you have one. Cake needs to be baked in the oven. made from scratch, no boxes. Ice cream, gotta make it in the ice cream maker and then freeze it. Sound ridiculously impractical? Sure it does. And that's the point. It helps answer this question, how hungry are you really? Besides, this is exactly what people have had to do for most of human history. Minus the air fryer, of course. One important consideration for both of these strategies, they work a lot better if your kitchen pantry and your office desk are not full of ready-to-eat temptations. So remember this. If a food is in your house or possession, either you, someone you love, or someone you marginally tolerate, will eventually eat it. Which raises one final question. Junk food alternatives, a marketing trick or a healthier treat? The answer, it depends. Healthy snacking options are everywhere, from frozen yogurt to those keto-friendly fat balls that keep showing up on your Instagram feed. These junk food alternatives can be helpful, but there are a couple of caveats to keep in mind. First, these should not be your only strategy. There's evidence suggesting that when people purposely choose a healthy substitute, they often overeat later. So in order for junk food alternatives to be healthy instead of harmful, they need to be used in conjunction with other strategies, like the ones we talked about in this lesson. Otherwise, you're just continuing the craving cycle with a different food. Second, not all substitutes are created equal. Though they include labels like organic, gluten-free, or even low-calorie. Store-bought junk food alternatives are often made with a delicious combination of sugar, often labeled as something else, fat and salt, or other brain-pleasing ingredients. In fact, they're frequently manufactured to be easy to eat in large quantities. So sure, these products might be slightly better choices than straight-up junk food, but they're unlikely to help you avoid overeating when cravings strike. But hey, it's not all bad news. Chosen wisely, healthy substitutes could help change your taste preferences. So if you become accustomed to eating homemade, no sugar added ice cream, you may start to crave that instead of the store-bought stuff. After that, maybe the next step is switching to fresh fruit when you crave something sweet. You're still dealing with a craving, but you're making progress toward prioritizing healthier, real foods. If you want something like a popsicle or some frozen treat, try some frozen fruit. My husband loves that one. Now, eventually, you may start to crave fruit itself, and in most cases, craving fruit is not too bad of a problem for anyone. For these reasons, choosing junk food alternatives that contain mostly whole food, real ingredients, can be made at home, and aren't extremely calorie dense is your best bet. So here's what to do. Step 1, decide if you want the real thing. Arguably, truly enjoying a full-fat ice cream in a reasonable portion beats a compulsive, automatically gobbled pint of healthy substitute that leaves you with a weird chemical aftertaste. And no matter what your goals are, you absolutely have the right to choose to indulge from time to time. So, before opting for junk food alternative by default, decide whether or not you truly want the real thing. Ask yourself, when was the last time you had it? Are you actually hungry? Or do you feel like eating? Do you just feel like eating? Do you think you can eat it slowly, mindfully, and stop before you feel full? Will you be able to feel happy and satisfied after eating? Or are you more likely to feel guilty and regretful? If you decide you want to eat the real thing, enjoy it, savor it, and then move on. And note all of this in your cravings journal, the workbook you can download below. If you decide the real thing is not worth it, or that you don't really want it all that badly, go for the swap that's both wholesome and satisfying. And remember, not eating anything is also an option. If you're not truly hungry, you may find doing one of the activities we listed helps relieve the craving. Step 2, satisfy your craving with a healthier substitute. Disrupting the craving cycle is key, but it takes time and practice to master it. We don't just know how to do things, we have to teach our brain to do them. So, no matter how in tune you are with your appetite, emotions, and eating habits, there are going to be times when you have a craving, truly feel hungry, and want another choice. That's when healthy junk food alternatives come in handy. Now, print off the cravings journal guideline below and use it every time you have a craving so that you can determine your patterns and true needs and desires. Now, ladies, go out there and conquer your cravings.